So earlier this year, I found myself in a tough situation. My Mark 6 Golf 1.4 TSI was starting to act up. No surprise there. So I needed to start looking for another car. I had a couple of things on my checklist. A £5 budget, good on fuel, and something rare that stands out from the rest. Considering the price of the second-hand car market at the moment, my options were minimal. But one car kept on popping up in my search. Yes, it is very small, and only came in automatic, but considering there was only roughly 40,000 built in the whole world, you never really see these on the road. So I went for it. A 2004 Smart Roadster. I went for the soft top version in glance grey with the 3-spoke alloys, which in my opinion is the best looking wheels for them, even more so than the Brabus editions. The design was dreamed up in 1998 when they realised the powertrain of the City Coupe was ideal for a small sports car. They added a compact turbo and driving the rear wheels via a 6-speed automated manual gearbox. When it was unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show, it was a success, and when it eventually started production in 2002, it kept a lot of the original design from the drawings with only minor changes. You have the soft top and coupe body types, and a few added extras depending on what model you purchased. For instance, mine had the sports package, which came with the paddle shifters, but you can also get cruise control and heated seats too. However, there are companies out there which can retrofit these to your car even today. Smart being owned and powered by Mercedes, Brabus got a hold of these and created a V6 bi-turbo version, which gave it an incredible power boost. 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds at a top speed pushing 130 plus. The V6 was created by mounting two of the original engines together, which meant moving the fuel tank to the front. Apparently, there's only 2 or 3 of the original 10 that are left in existence. Not surprised by that fact, really. Imagine pushing these cars to its limits. A few of these definitely ended up in a ditch or wrapped around a tree. I picked up mine with just over 80,000 miles on the clock. I actually went to a very popular Roadster garage, J&M Motors, which you might have seen in my previous video. He does a great job with the aftercare, including treating the moisture and leaking issues and wiring, and just a general maintenance of the models, which are, now almost 20 years old. They're almost considered a classic. In my opinion, I believe these cars are aging well. Considering how the design of modern cars is starting to, they're all starting to look the same, it still manages to have a simple but effective lines and a great look. You tend to get a lot of the time people saying it looks like a cute car, which I can agree with. Maintenance is a mixed bag when it comes to Roadsters. They have very short service intervals, 7,000 miles or 1 year, whatever comes first. Considering I'll be looking at around 7,000 to 8,000 miles a year for my commute to work, I know that I would have to keep up with the service history and keep it maintained as much as possible. To be honest, no matter what car I've owned, I have tried my best to service it consistently every single year, especially a daily. Nobody wants to have a car let you down when you're meant to be commuting every single day. This car already had a stage 1 remap which took the original 80 brake horsepower to 98. Some people will say, well, that's not a lot. But considering the curb weight is sitting under 800 kilograms, power to weight ratio has been bumped up dramatically, taking the original 11-second 0 to 60 time to 9 seconds. Being 6'1", I did have my doubts about size, but surprisingly I fit comfortably, and where the engine is rear mounted, you have really good legroom. On the other hand, the glove box is minuscule, and the door pockets can't even fit a bottle of drink, plus no cup holders. Best stop when you have a coffee, because you don't want to be driving with that between your legs. If you have driven any of the Smart range from this era, it's very similar inside. The same instruments, same gear stick, and on a trip computer is pretty bog standard. Now here's the interesting part. Luggage space. It does have a rear boot, technically. You can store very minimal stuff that is not too thick. No golf clubs, but clothing and small packaging and soft bags can go in there quite easily. Plus the boot goes through to the back of the seats. But having the soft top version, you have a lip that prevents you from putting down the roof, for obvious reasons. Like I said, where the engine is rear mounted, it has a front boot space. You can do a weekly shop on long weekends with soft bags in there, totally fine. Luckily my other car is an A3 which covers us for anything large, IKEA trips for example. I've been surviving perfectly fine with the storage, plus you can only take one person with you, which I guess is a little bit selfish. But to me, it all makes sense when it comes to driving experience. If you haven't driven one before, you will be surprised when you get behind the wheel. It's exciting and it grips so well. You can kick out the back end like a savage if you want to. Having a bit more power than the standard going through the rev range is beautiful. You can complain about the gearbox being a bit slow and clunky, but it feels like changing gears in a manual. Half a second later and you're in a gear. Compared to my DSG and my Audi, it's night and day. But it adds a raw, bare bones experience. It doesn't sound like a 3-cylinder either, when you hear it right behind your head. You can have way more fun than most cars, and you won't even be breaking the speed limits. Plus, the roof can go down or up at any speed. No need to stop. Parking is a breeze. Being such a small engine, it still complies with the ULEZ zone, which annoyingly is expanding all the time. Bastards. If I was to track it, I would consider upgrading the brakes. With it having drum brakes at the back, you have to push the pedal down a little further than most, to be honest. However, my pads could be worn, and there's other factors as well that I need to look into. I truly believe these will be future classics. It is ideal for city driving, but also long winding roads on the coast. Price varies massively. You can find examples for around £2,000, maybe even cheaper, but you'll be picking up ones with issues. Leaking. It's the one big killer that scares a lot of people away. And obviously there's general maintenance like clutch and turbo, which will be changed in its life cycle. I'm part of the Roadster Facebook group, and there's plenty of examples, easily sitting between 100 to 200,000 and still going strong. Having only had her for nearly 2 months, I'm still at the beginning of my journey. Honeymoon phase, you might say. I'll be releasing updates throughout the years, so keep a lookout for that. But I am over the moon with my purchase, and I still smile whenever I see it and drive it too. Feel free to share your own experiences and opinions in the comments. The Roadster is one of the most cost-effective fun cars you can buy.
Bad boys, you ready? It literally sounds like I've got a V6 mounted to the back of me, you ready? Every day is going to be like this.